My ex cheated with my cousin and my family sided with them. Now they want me back to help clean up the mess. Hey, before we move on to the video, please subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. Thanks. I, 33F, used to believe that no matter what happened in life, family would always have your back. That no matter how bad things got, your blood wouldn't throw you to the wolves. I don't believe that anymore. Because when my entire world collapsed, when my husband cheated on me with my own cousin, my family didn't just stand by and watch. They handed him the knife. Let me back up. I met Jake when I was 21, just after graduating college. He was charming in the kind of way that made you think maybe Hallmark movies had a grain of truth. He wasn't flashy or rich. He worked construction while I was studying to become a speech therapist, but he was attentive, loyal, or at least I thought he was. We dated for 3 years before getting married, and during that time I supported him through multiple job changes, injuries, and a rough patch where he almost got evicted from his place before moving in with me. I paid more rent. I bought the groceries. I covered bills when he was out of work. That didn't matter to me. I was building something real. Or so I believed. My family loved Jake. My mom adored him. Finally, a real man, she used to say, not so subtly referencing my older sister's deadbeat husband. My dad had passed away by then, and Jake filled that man of the house void in ways I didn't realize at the time were emotionally loaded. He mowed my mom's lawn, changed her car battery, lifted heavy things at family barbecues. My siblings and cousins thought he was hilarious. He was basically family before we even got married. Then there was Lena, my cousin, my mom's niece. She was the fun one, the one who always had a new hairstyle, a new boyfriend, a new drama. She was the life of the party. Lena had always been a little reckless. She'd crashed a car in her senior year, got fired from 3 jobs in 2 years, and still somehow remained the family's little darling. She could do no wrong. Whenever she had a crisis, my mom was the first to offer help. Meanwhile, if I ever vented about anything, I'd get, "Don't be so sensitive." There was always a weird edge between Lena and me. Like she enjoyed getting under my skin, but in a way that could be brushed off as just joking. If I bought a new dress, she'd get the same one, then post a photo with a caption like, "Who wore it better?" If I mentioned Jake in passing, she'd make some teasing remark like, "If you ever leave him, I call dibs." She said that once at Thanksgiving, and everyone laughed. Jake chuckled too. I didn't, but I let it slide. Because that's what you do with family, right? A year ago, I started noticing changes in Jake. He was more distant, less affectionate. He started working late more often, but never seemed stressed about work. His phone was always face down. He took longer showers. He started wearing cologne again, something he hadn't done since our 3rd anniversary. I asked him about it once, just casually, and he laughed it off. "I'm not cheating on you," he said, before I'd even used the word. That was the first time my stomach dropped, but I still didn't want to believe it. What finally broke the dam wasn't some grand revelation. It was a smell. He came home one night after, working late, and I hugged him. His shirt smelled like a perfume I didn't own. I asked about it. He said a coworker hugged him goodbye. I asked what her name was. He said it was a guy. I looked him in the eyes and asked again. He looked away. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just said, "Are you sleeping with someone?" He didn't deny it. He just said, "I didn't mean for it to happen." I asked, "Who?" He hesitated. That was when I knew it was someone close. Someone he didn't want to name because he knew it would explode everything. "Who?" I repeated, louder. He looked at me and whispered, "Lena." I can't even describe what happened inside me in that moment. It wasn't just heartbreak. It was betrayal layered on betrayal, multiplied by years of trust and sacrifices. It was the kind of pain that makes you physically ill. I went to the bathroom and threw up. I kicked him out that night. He tried to argue, said we should talk about it, said it just happened a few times and they didn't plan it. I wasn't listening. I couldn't. My world was disintegrating and all I could think about was every family event, every hug between them, every moment I'd let my guard down. He left. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I called my mom. I told her everything, expecting, hoping for her to be furious. I wanted her to be on my side, to tell me Lena was dead to her, to tell me Jake was a monster and I didn't deserve this. What I got was, "Well, that's really unfortunate, but maybe you two were having issues." I swear, I sat there in silence for 10 seconds. Then she added, "And you know how Lena is. She gets attached to people who treat her well. Treat her well? I'm your daughter, I said. And she's my niece, she replied, like that was a trump card. My mom then said something that I will never forget for the rest of my life. Maybe this is what was meant to be. That was the moment something broke in me. I tried to talk to my siblings. My brother told me he didn't want to take sides. My sister said she could see it coming because Jake and I had been off lately. My aunt, Lena's mom, called me to say I should let love be love. Meanwhile, Lena posted a picture of her and Jake on Instagram a week later. Caption: when it's real, you just know. There were family members commenting heart emojis. My mother left a comment that said, "You two look so happy." I was erased, discarded, replaced. In less than 2 weeks, my marriage was over, and my family had welcomed my ex and my cousin as the new power couple. They got invited to birthdays, to dinners. My mother hosted a barbecue and posted pictures with Jake at the grill, like nothing had ever happened. And me? I didn't even get a phone call. I was exiled for refusing to pretend I wasn't stabbed in the back. In the weeks after the betrayal, I didn't know who I was anymore. I moved into a one-bedroom apartment across town, the cheapest place I could find that didn't smell like mold. I left the house to Jake. Not because I didn't want to fight for it, but because I couldn't stomach living in the same space where I'd once planned our future and he'd been planning my replacement. I barely ate. I lost 12 pounds in 3 weeks without trying. Food didn't taste like anything. I would sit on the couch staring at the wall for hours, barely blinking. My friend Tasha, my best friend since middle school, came over nearly every night just to make sure I was alive. She'd bring groceries, sit next to me while I cried, and sometimes just hold my hand without saying a word. She didn't ask stupid questions. She didn't tell me to forgive or be the bigger person. She just stayed. My family didn't even call. Not on my birthday. Not when my car battery died and I had to take the bus to work for a week. Not when I ended up in urgent care from a stress-induced migraine so bad I couldn't speak straight. The worst part wasn't the silence. It was realizing that silence was a choice. That they had picked a side, and it wasn't mine. Lena and Jake weren't just together. They were flaunting it. They took a trip to Florida and posted pictures on the beach with matching sunglasses. My mom commented, "You deserve this," under a picture of them kissing. I blocked her after that. I blocked most of my family, actually. I couldn't keep seeing their smiling faces as they embraced the people who had gutted me. Every time I saw their names on my screen, it felt like someone was stomping on my chest. I couldn't understand how they were all okay with it. How they justified what Jake and Lena did. I wasn't perfect. No one is. But I was loyal. I loved hard. I worked hard. I never asked them for anything. And when everything fell apart, they acted like I was the villain for being upset. The betrayal ate at me. Not just because of what they did, but because of how easily everyone else accepted it. Like my pain was an inconvenience they didn't want to deal with. It took me nearly 8 months to start feeling human again. I started going to therapy. At first, I just sat there in silence, arms crossed, full of resentment. But my therapist, a woman named Denise, didn't flinch. She didn't fill the silence. She waited. And eventually, the dam broke. I told her everything. About Jake, about Lena, about my family. About how I felt disposable, invisible. She listened. And then, she asked me a question I wasn't prepared for. Who are you without them? I didn't have an answer. So I started finding one. I started small. I dyed my hair for the first time in years. A rich, dark red. Lena had always joked that red wouldn't suit me, so I made it my signature. I got a dog from the shelter. A scrappy little mutt named Pepper who loved me immediately and didn't care what I'd been through. She'd curl up next to me while I worked from home, snoring like a chainsaw, and somehow that sound became a comfort. I began running. Not far at first, just a few blocks, but it became a habit. The movement helped. The sweat helped. It made me feel alive. Like maybe this body of mine wasn't just a vessel for pain anymore. I made new friends. Not many, but a few solid ones. People from a book club, a coworker I'd always said hi to but never really known, a neighbor who introduced herself when Pepper nearly peed on her rosebush. I stopped checking Lena and Jake's social media. I started sleeping through the night again. I got a promotion at work, a big one. My boss told me she'd never seen someone come back from a personal low with so much fire. I smiled, said thank you, and later cried in the bathroom because for once, someone saw my effort and didn't twist it into something ugly. At some point, I'm not sure exactly when, I realized I didn't think about Jake every day anymore. I didn't feel that ache in my chest every time I saw a couple holding hands. I didn't flinch when someone mentioned betrayal or divorce. The wound was still there, but it had scarred over. It no longer defined me. A year and a half after the divorce, I hosted a dinner party. It wasn't a huge affair, just me, Tasha, a few friends, and my new boyfriend, Aaron. He was gentle and kind, the sort of man who didn't need to be the center of the room to feel important. He listened more than he spoke. He loved Pepper and brought flowers every time he visited, not for me, but for no reason at all, just because. We ate, we laughed, we told stories. And at one point, I caught myself looking around my little apartment, at the food I cooked, the people who came, the life I had rebuilt, and I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Pride. Not for what I'd survived, but for what I'd created out of the wreckage. And just when I thought the past was truly behind me, it came crawling back. It started with a text. "Mom, hi sweetie. I was wondering if we could talk." Then another. "Mom, it's about Lena. It's complicated." I stared at my phone, heart racing. And then, the real kicker. "Lena, hey, I know you probably hate me. I deserve it. But I could really use your help." Apparently, Karma had finally decided to do her job. And I was about to find out just how far they'd fallen. I didn't respond to their messages right away. I left them sitting there, those little gray bubbles, blinking back at me like they were owed my time. Like after almost 2 years of radio silence, humiliation, and betrayal, I was supposed to care that things were complicated now. But curiosity is a funny thing. No matter how healed you think you are, when the people who cut you deepest come knocking, a part of you always wants to look through the peephole. So I did what any self-respecting woman with decent impulse control and a touch of pettiness would do. I didn't reply. I called Tasha. She came over that night with wine, cheese, and zero judgment. We sat on the couch, scrolling through Lena's still public Instagram. The timeline was clear. The shiny pictures of her and Jake had stopped a few months back. No more couple selfies. No more my ride or die captions. No more vacations. Just fake quotes about disappointments, starting over, and not everyone is who they pretend to be. Then there was a photo of Lena holding a newborn, a baby girl. The comments were telling. Someone asked if Jake was the father. No reply. Another said, "You're doing amazing, Mama. Some men aren't worth the energy." Still no Jake. No tag posts, no likes, no mentions. Tasha and I exchanged a look. Well, she said, sipping her wine. "Looks like Mr. didn't mean for it to happen finally ran out of other people's lives to ruin." I felt nothing. No rage. No sadness. No vindication. Just clarity. They imploded, just like I knew they would. Lena was impulsive, attention-hungry, manipulative. Jake was weak, opportunistic, and spineless. It was a matter of time before their little fantasy collapsed under the weight of who they really were. A few days later, I got a letter in the mail. Not a text. Not an email. A real, physical letter in my mailbox with Lena's handwriting on the front. Inside was a single sheet of notebook paper. "I know I don't deserve your kindness, but I'm drowning. Jake left 3 months ago. He said he wasn't cut out for the dad life. I'm working 2 jobs and I can't keep up. I made a mistake. A huge one. And I lost not just you, but my whole sense of family. I miss you. I'm sorry. I know it's late, but if there's any part of you that can forgive me, please, just talk to me." I stared at the letter for a long time. Then I lit a match and watched it burn in my kitchen sink. A week after that, my mother called again. This time, she left a voicemail. "I know you're still angry, but Lena's going through a lot. We all are. Jake's completely out of the picture. Your cousin is raising a baby alone. I was hoping you might come by for Sunday dinner. It's been so long. We miss you." I laughed out loud. Miss me? Where was that energy when I was sobbing alone in a bare apartment, begging for someone to pick up the phone? Where was it when they were cooing over Lena and Jake while I was blocked from family group chats and events? They missed the old me, the quiet one, the doormat, the family peacekeeper, the one who made everything easy by swallowing pain and smiling through betrayal. That woman was dead. So I made a decision. A few weeks later, I threw a party. Not a huge blowout, just a carefully curated dinner with my closest friends, Tasha, my new coworkers, and a few neighbors who had become like family. Aaron came, of course. He brought dessert and helped light the candles. I wore a new dress, bold red, Lena's least favorite color. I looked and felt radiant. I made sure to post pictures. A selfie with my friends raising glasses. A video of Aaron playing tug-of-war with Pepper in the backyard. A group shot with the caption, "Family isn't always blood." It didn't take long. I got a text from my sister. "You look amazing. Miss you. Maybe we could talk sometime." Then my mother. "You seem happy. I'm glad. Just wish we could be part of it." And finally, Lena. "Saw your post. I get it. I deserve the cold shoulder. Just, please don't hate my daughter because of me. She didn't choose any of this." That one hit a little harder. Not because I forgave her, but because I realized she genuinely thought I might take out her sins on a child. That said more about her than it ever did about me. I didn't reply to any of them. I didn't need to. They had made their choice when it counted. They chose image over integrity, cruelty over compassion, convenience over character. I had built a new life, brick by painful brick, without a single one of them. And now that they were flailing, they wanted me to be their life raft. But I wasn't a raft anymore. I was the goddamn ocean. A few months later, I saw Jake at the grocery store. He looked smaller somehow. Not thinner, just diminished. Like someone had turned the brightness down on him. He was buying cheap beer and frozen pizza. He didn't recognize me at first. When he did, his eyes widened. He opened his mouth like he wanted to say something. I didn't stop. I didn't flinch. I just walked right past him, in heels, holding fresh flowers and a bottle of imported wine, and never looked back. Let them drown in the mess they made. I was already gone, and I wasn't coming back. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button.